Okay. Dear David Lee, I wanted to run something by you, an idea I had, which is inspired by Caio Ibelli removing the Oakley stickers from his board and the concurrent news pertaining to the attempted takeover of financial markets by plebeians via meme warfare, GameStop, and all that stuff. I consider the grit to be the greatest disruptor in the surf space, and herein exists an opportunity for an epic, controlled disruption and social statement, which will be carried out by the core audience utilizing similar tactics as I mentioned above. At its essence, podcast listeners will be given the opportunity to crowdfund a cash deal to get the grit sticker prominently placed on Caio Ibelli's boards. This will serve as a starting point for Project Ibelli and represent our minimum viable product. Just like podcasts produce no items of tangible value, the sponsorship of Caio will not be backed by a product, but rather the alternative ideology mutually held among the core podcast listener. The value return to the shareholders in this instance is the thrill of sticking it to the corporate hegemony. Hegemony. Thank you. And planting the seeds of a core takeover of professional surf. Everyone involved would in some way own a piece of Caio and have a vested interest in his success on tour. While I would like to see you guys sell as many monthly subscriptions as possible, I do not think Project Ibelli will necessarily take away from that bottom line. Speaking for myself, the opportunity of a quasi-satirical sponsorship of Caio by the Grit fans is a more exciting proposition and would keep me perpetually emotionally invested in the podcast. This visual representation of the Grit in WSL events will certainly drive traffic to your website/podcast and, in turn, elevate the profile of the show sponsors. Perhaps this ROI model could prove wildly successful. Another aspect of Project Ibelli would involve us pumping up Caio's remaining sponsors from all directions, much like GameStop pranksters have done to the stock. This could include buying stocks in Sea-Doo, RYO products, DHD, tchotchkes, or simply bombarding the company's social feeds with positive messages. In theory, and in the long run, we would be investing in a virtual currency backed by Caio and held up by investors who share this vision. For the sake of keeping this relatively short, I won't go into cryptocurrency and NFTs at the moment, although these are things that could complement Project Ibelli and keep us all on the cutting edge. The end goal is a new paradigm for sponsorship of professional surfers and new business opportunities, essentially a grassroots takeover of professional surfing. Much more to say on this, but I'll end here. Should the idea for Project Ibelli resonate on your guys' ends, I volunteer myself as a degenerate MBA to contribute in any way possible.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yes.
I'm all in.
I mean, 100% in. How much do you think that real estate on Caio's board is? Would we go above or below a belly burger?
It would go above.
Okay.
I think a belly burger is about at where his chin would rest if he's paddling.
Okay.
I want the nose.
Okay. How much to get grit on the nose?
I think we could talk him into $1,000 per event.
Okay. Well, I'm going to reach out.
Do you think?
I think it'd be more than that. I'm going to reach out to Caio on this one. This one is good enough to float.
I already have the stickers.
Do you?
They're the Fox News logo stickers. I should have brought one today. I'll bring it next week so we can show it on air. So I agree with you. If he, like Oakley was paying him more than $1,000 a month for that placement.
For sure.
But I think with with the concept of this pitch.
Also, we don't take away from an existing category. I mean, we have the nose of the board, but it's not like, you know, if we were a clothing company, for example, then that would limit his other potential opportunities there.
Yeah, there is a policy in place in general, though, that is leave that blank.
For sure, but
unless somebody steps up.
But it has value. So I'm gonna
What do you think the number is?
I have no idea. What the market I feel has changed so drastically even before COVID, but especially during COVID, that I have no idea, and I would imagine that it's wildly fluctuating depending upon what the surfer is willing or just kind of needs, right? Like maybe yes, Caio might need $12,000 for the year. Like that'll just put him over. And so he'd say, okay, yeah, sure. I'll give you the nose for a year for $1,000 a month. But also, Yeah. Does Kaio think, I mean, this plan is genius because you could prove, I mean, the model is very, very interesting, is you could bring value to Kaio's other sponsors,
Right.
who then would, when it's time to renegotiate those deals, as long as grid is on the nose and
We're talking about him weekly.
exactly, and the community of dedicated listeners
Okay.
are invested,
Yes.
then that makes all of his actual other sponsorships more valuable. This is a brilliant idea.
Okay, so this goes into the pitch when you talk to him is, look, we're not going to pay you as much as another brand would for that space. But what we are going to do is hype you up weekly, and everybody who donates to this $1,000 fund is obligated to then comment on all of your posts,
Yep.
to repost your stuff, to comment on your other sponsors' posts.
To make you the biggest surfer in the world.
Exactly. This
Yeah.
is a concerted effort. Nobody else has a media company backing them, pushing them.
Individually. It's perfect. It's great. It's great. And I love it. And I'm going to reach out to Kaio more next week.
Okay.
We'll hear back from Kaio by next week.
Okay.
About, I'm going to get general sort of brass tacks. I'm going to go get the lay of the land first. And then, so just I know like what relative value is. And then I will talk to Kaio and see if we can't get this kicked down the road.
And as this begins to take root, it'll be a story, certainly on Beach Grid, an ongoing story, but it has to be picked up by all other surf media. If they're not talking about this,
they won't, but that's okay.
Look, if Kaio Ibelli is suddenly trending on news because we are all kind of promoting and discussing, and then they're not commenting on that, that's crazy.
They will happily look silly. Just
Exactly. Okay,
just
fair
not
enough.
to talk about it. But I will also say, I've said it on the podcast before, it's all perfect with Kaio because I think to this day, maybe only one professional surfer follows Beach Grit's Instagram. Kaio Ibelli. Kaio from day one.
Here's the other added value. He's got a Ibelli Burgers.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll promote Ibelli Burgers for you.
And I'll tell you what.
We have a full media company pushing your hamburger shop.
I'll tell you what. I saw a photo of Belly Burgers on his. They look delicious.
They are so good looking.
Yeah.
I mean, they post photos of those every single day, and they're pretty much the same. And it's like, I think they have 8 different burgers, and so there's one of the 8 every single day, and every time I want
Good looking burger.
I want to fly to Brazil to get one.
I mean, Kaio.
Kaio.
Coming at you, Kaio.
And by the way, he's going to win this. I feel like he will win heats this year, if not events.
I feel that Kaio is angry. I feel Kaio has an anger. I mean, not an angry person.
No.
But I feel Kaio feels like
a fire.
Yeah, exactly. Like you, industry, turned your back on me. You, WSL, don't give me anything. I'm going to go. I mean, he's also a proven giant killer.
Totally.
Like takes out Kelly, takes out John.
In a style of surfer that we all love.
And I will say also, in his prime. Kaio's no old guy.
Agreed.
Like Kaio is...
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, in his prime. And we're getting an in his prime, or have the opportunity to get an in his prime Kaio.